All right, candidates, let's talk about education now. Of all the education issues out there, I think it's fair to say one issue that's plagued Tennessee for several years now is the statewide education assessment test known as TNReady. We know Tennessee public schools are federally required to administer yearly testing, but we also know TNReady frankly hasn't worked for the last 3 years. A new report by a special state education advisory team stated the credibility of TNReady is in disarray and must be restored. A true test of leadership is standing up to something that's not working and saying, we are going to do X, whatever X is, to fix it. What action will you take immediately for the tens of thousands of frustrated parents, teachers, and students that have been dealing with TNReady? Mr. Lee, you first.
We'll do a reset. We will step back and look at the system, the parts of it that are not working, and make changes. You know, as a business person, I know that you can't improve what you don't measure. But we also know that if you measure the wrong thing or you measure too much, then you actually will have the opposite effect of what you want to happen. And 70% of teachers in our state say that the current testing environment is not conducive to their ability to teach kids. And teachers are where the rubber meets the road in education. We have to create an environment where teachers can thrive. And that's not only just a pay environment, that's important, but it is a testing environment as well. So I think we need to look at what's not working, engage parents, engage teachers, engage school leaders, and start that process of as you would in any business situation, what's not working, and then build upon what is working. But we need to do a reset.
To follow up with you on that, when you say reset, you talk about what sounds like a listening tour, which Governor Haslam has already done.
Right.
I think we know what the issues are. What I think concerns all the teachers, parents, and students that have given up valuable classroom time trying to deal with this problem is they look at the situation and they see you as someone who will be sworn in on January 1st,
right,
and they got to be ready for a new test come April. That gives you this is going to be one of the first things on your desk if you're sworn in. Give me something specific, if you can, when you say reset.
I think we're going to change the vendor. We're going to look at a vendor that will provide testing in a different way. I think we're going to look at which tests are most effective. He has done a listening tour, and we need to take that data and never stop a listening tour. This process is not going to be solved all at once. We never stop listening. We take the data from what he gathers, and we acknowledge that we have too many tests, and then narrow the focus onto those tests that are most effective and give the results that teachers and parents believe is most effective.
Mr. Dean, if you're sworn in January, what will you do immediately to fix this problem?
Well, I think a reset or just starting over what needs to happen. I mean, look, it is important that we have accountability, and I think teachers and principals all agree to this. We got to know how we are doing in terms of educating our kids. If we don't know how we're doing as a local jurisdiction or how we're doing as a state, we're never going to improve, and we're going to fool ourselves into think we're doing well when we actually are not. So we need tests of accountability. What's happened is we created a testing system that has failed on a variety of levels for 3 years. The vendor certainly has to change. We have not listened to the voices of teachers, which in constructing the test, which we absolutely need to do. And I think one of the reasons that I've been endorsed by the teachers is that I'm willing to do that and to work with them very closely to get that done. And then we need to construct a test that is professionally helpful to them, that is part of professional development, because that's who they are. They're the keys to what happens in a classroom. And then have this test be something that does not become the overriding thing, that the whole academic year gets ready to take this test, and all you do is test and test to take the test.
And that's why I want to push you on that too, because teachers will tell us, look, we're looking at having to prepare our kids this April coming up. The new governor's not taking office until January.
Right.
Finding a new vendor is going to take a while. What about going to pencil and paper tests at least, and do that for a year?
You could consider that, but I think you just have to recognize that we might not be ready this time. I mean, it might not happen in April because of the schedule. We get to come in office in January, and having this thing up and running by April, which hasn't happened in 3 years, seems to me to be very optimistic. But my commitment is to create a fair test that's going to help the students, help professional teachers, and give us a sense of accountability. All those things are possible, but you got to take the time to do it right.
All right. Thank you, candidates. Katina.